In this video, we will look at two menu items, scroll options and cell selection options. Grid can be used to display a large number of data. When you have a large number of data in a grid and you use scroll bar to scroll through the rows, it may be difficult to see the data. Nexacro has smart scroll functionality where you can add a pop-up row to highlight the data. In the scroll options, we will look at those options to where you can display those pop-up rows. By default, it does not show any pop-up rows. You can use the center display to display a pop-up that highlights the row in the middle of the grid. Another option is to display the pop-up row at the top, bottom, and the center. The other option is used to display the pop-up row as you scroll the scroll bar. The pop-up row will also scroll. Let's look at the scroll option in the application. Here I have a grid with a large number of rows. By default, when I move the scroll bar, none of the rows are highlighted. We can change that by using the scroll option. The first scroll option is center display. So here we will display a pop-up row in the middle of the grid. So now when I try to move the scroll bar, you can see there is a row that has been highlighted at the center. Now I can choose top, bottom, center display. So it will display a row at the top, bottom, and center. So now I move the scroll bar and you can see there is a row at the top, center, and bottom. Another option is scroll position display. It will highlight the row as I scroll. So I move the scroll bar and the highlighted row moves with the scroll bar. Now I can put to the default behavior. This is not to have any row highlighted. So you can see this functionality is useful when you want to highlight a row. You can set the scroll option by setting the property fast vs scroll type of the grid. So the values can be default, which will not highlight any row. Top display, which will add a row at the top of the grid. Center display will display the pop-up in the middle of the grid. Top, bottom display, so it will display one at the top and one at the bottom. Top, center, bottom will have 3 rows at the top, center, and bottom. And the track bar flow, so it will scroll as we move the scroll bar. We can look at the code here. So the select ID, if it is default, we set the grid fast vs scroll type to default. If it is the center display, we set it at center display. If you want it at the top, center, and bottom, we set it to top, center, bottom display. If you want the row to scroll as we scroll the scroll bar, then fast vs scroll type is track bar follow. So this is how you can set the scroll option to highlight the row in the grid. The next menu item is cell selection option. This allows us to set how to select the data in the grid. The option can be to select a row, a single cell, multiple rows, or an area. Let's look at how it works in an application. So when you right-click on the grid, you have the cell selection option. It can be row, cell, multiple rows, or area. By default, the selection type is row. So if you click here, it selects one row at a time. So now we can change to cell. So it selects single cell. Another cell selection option is multiple row. So you can use Control or Shift to select multiple rows. For example, I can click here and then with Shift, I can do 2 rotations. I can use Control. So with multiple row, you can select multiple rows. Next cell selection option is area. You can use the Shift option to select multiple cells. You can set it back to row to select a single row. You can change the selection type of the data using select type property of the grid. Select type can have values like row for a single row, multi-row for multiple rows, a cell for a single cell, area for a multiple cell, and then there is also a multi-area. Let's look at how it is set in the application. So on menu click, the select ID. If it's a row, the select type for the grid is row. If it's a cell, select type is cell. If it's multi-rows, select type is multi-row. If it's an area, then the select type is area. So this is how you can change the cell selection using the select type property of the grid. In the next session, we will look at how we can copy and paste the content of the grid.